everybody, how's it going? It's Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on FlossTube, and I am here with my March 2017 plans. I know, I don't normally separate the videos between updates and plans. However, a couple of things are sort of leading to this today. It's been 2 weeks since I've done an update, and so I expect that my update video is going to be kind of long. So I thought to break it up a little bit to help out with the folks who can only watch in 10 to 15 minute segments. The other sort of draw to doing this today is that I have a window of time to film today. It's February 28th, so tomorrow is March. So I thought, well, I could talk about my plans today, and then I can use tomorrow to do my update video. So that way, it's broken up. You get 2 videos, just in smaller chunks. So that's what we're doing. So I am going to talk about my plans for the various cross-stitch stitch-alongs. I'm also going to be talking about my plans for reading, because I need to draw from my TBR jar. And then I'm also going to be talking about my plans for knitting. So sort of covering my realms of interest today. I'm not going to do anything like super specific as far as what I'm working on for each week of my rotation, but these are the projects for the stitch-alongs that I'm working on. Tomorrow, when I film, when I have a wider window for filming, I will answer questions from these last 2 weeks. I'll go over my whips and finishes. And that's plural. Might even be up to as many as 4. Maybe even 5. But we'll see. So I will talk about finishes tomorrow. I'll talk about what I have been knitting and what I have been reading, and any stash, because I've got some stuff that came in. But I'll talk about all that tomorrow. Today is just what I plan on doing in March. So let's just go ahead and get started. Oh, before I do, Thor's here. You can probably hear him snoring. He's up there taking a nap. He might come down. We'll see. He's a tired boy today. Okay, so I have 2 stitch-alongs that I'm going to be sort of walking you through. The first of which is the Stitch Mania month-long sale, and the month-long sale is blanking, History and Stitches. So projects that are somehow related to history in some form or fashion. The other is not really a stitch-along so much as like my own personal theme, so to speak, that I stuck with March. And I'm going to have a Mirabilia March Madness. So I picked 4 projects that I will be working on in March from Mirabilia. So let's get started. The first one we're going to talk about is History and Stitches. And week 1, I will be working on the Fabulous Women in History by Clouds Factory. I haven't started it yet. So that will be one of the first things that I work on during my sales week. And this is just a quick reminder, my fabric here is a 32 count Belfast in double dipped Keone from Under the Sea Fabrics. And so I will start this tomorrow. My plan is to try to get 3 characters a month done until I'm caught up, because as of tomorrow I'll be a little bit behind, so trying to get caught up. In week 2 I will be working on The Reader by Joan Elliott. This is a bit of a crowd favorite here on Jessie Marie Does Stuff. And this qualifies for History and Stitches because, well, first of all, she kind of looks a little bit Victorian, or a little bit medieval. But she's also reading historical romance, and we're talking like total bodice ripper historical romance. You can see here that she's reading this book, and there's no cover, there's no title on it, and that's because she's got like one of those book covers that you can put around the cover of your book so that nobody knows what you're reading, so that you can totally get on the train reading 50 Shades of Grey and nobody will judge you. Yeah, that's where that came from. Fun fact. And you can see her face, like she's totally into this story. She's loving it. So that is what I'll be working on for week 2. And just as a reminder, this is where I am currently at. So I'll probably be working down here on this side in the edges of her skirts. And this is on a 28 count cashel linen in gingerbread from Picture This Plus. And I love this. So excited to get back to this. So there's that. Week 3, as you guys know, week 3 of my rotation is it is associated with either the Tour de Designers, which for March, Stitch Mania's Tour de Designers is Teresa Wensler. Since I don't currently have a Teresa Wensler on the go, I decide to work on a focus project instead. And so that focus project is another big one that I'm hoping to finish up here pretty quickly. And that is Persephone by Mirabilia. Now, Persephone is a Greek myth. Greek myths, hello, old. So, there we go. And just as a reminder, this is on a 32 count Belfast in Tempest by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. Oh, I'm hoping to make this project history in March. Gosh, that was so cheesy. Whatever, it's fine. And so I just have the wallpaper to finish up before I get to start doing some beading. So there she is. Good old Persephone. Love her. Okay. Next, we have my last project for my week 4, which for March goes for a few extra days since March is 31 days. Floss 2 bitchy nose. Never fails. Alright, Glendon Place, Elizabeth. And this is a part of the Baroque Beauties collection. Now, this has a little bit of a story, but that's what it looks like. Or that's what it will look like finished. This is on a 32 count Belfast in Buttercup by Under the Sea Fabrics. And here's where I currently stand. This one. Okay, now let's talk about the history aspect of this. Now, the Baroque Beauties collection, it refers to and it actually says it here on the back. Baroque was a period of artistic style, typically from about, it's understood to be about 1600 to 1750, that used exaggerated motion and clear, easily interpreted detail to produce drama, tension, exuberance, and grandeur in sculpture, painting, architecture, literature, dance, music, and especially fashion. Baroque in fashion was ruled by indulgence and ornate embellishments, much like the lush brocade fabrics of the kings and queens. Consequently, these floral designs do not look like traditional flowers, but are intentionally much more ornate and use embellishments of metallic threads, beads, and crystal treasures. Let's just say they have bling. Okay. Now, I've talked about why I like Persephone a lot, but one of the other reasons that I really like Persephone is a sculpture. And this sculpture is by Bernini, and it is called the Rape of Proserpina, which is actually the Roman name for Persephone. So Persephone is Greek, Hades is Greek, Zeus is Greek. In Roman, Persephone is Proserpina, and Zeus was Jupiter. I can't remember what Hades' name was. Anyway, so Bernini created this marble sculpture, and it is considered a Baroque sculpture. And I'll insert a few pictures here. This sculpture, when I first saw it, not in person, but it took my breath away. It is on my bucket list to see it live. I don't know what it is, but well, I mean, I do. It looks like, specifically at the part where Hades' fingers are gripping, I believe it's her thigh space, it looks human. It looks lifelike. Anyway, so that sculpture is said to have come out of the Baroque period of art. So we've got Persephone, which then relates to Baroque art, and so they're kind of related a little bit. So that's just a little bit, another peek into my interests. Love that sculpture. I think that the first time I saw any pictures of it and really appreciated it was a course that I took in college. It was actually a class that I took with my brother. We took a classic mythology class, and yeah, that was cool. Okay, so now let's get on with Mirabilia Madness. It happens in the knitting world. There's Mad Tosh March, there's Malabrigo March, and those are your yarn dyers. I thought that it might be kind of fun to do a Mirabilia March, and so I am. So I picked 4 Mirabilias to work on during the month of March. Now I'm working on these on the weekends. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'll be working on my Mirabilia patterns for each of these weeks. So that I can get a good chunk of time into them, but without interrupting my rotation too much. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, for each of the 4 weekends in March, I'll be working on these. So week 1, and this kind of goes back to last year when I did mostly monogamous March. Do you guys remember that? I thought about doing that again, and then I changed my mind because that's kind of insane. So the project that I worked on for that and haven't worked on since is Bluebeard's Princess Mirabella. Love her. I have been apprehensive about going back to her because I'm in the skin 1/1 on a mermaid. This is on 32 count Belfast in NYX from Under the Sea Fabrics. And here's where I left off almost a year ago. So, lots and lots of work left to be done here, but isn't she gorgeous? I love that she's faceless. It's kind of creepy. So I'll be working on skin probably for that entire weekend, but nonetheless. So this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And this fabric, as I said, is NYX blue-gray, showing up pretty accurately there on screen. Love it. Okay. Next, week 2, I will be working on another of my dark Victorian ladies. Kind of, well, not Victorian. She's kind of Victorian. The Raven Queen. And this is on 32 count Belfast in Haunted by Picture This Plus. So I'll be working on Poe. And again, Haunted. It's like a dark blue with some green going on in there a little bit. Definitely some gray. And you can see Edgar Allan Poe, his nose, his chin. So I'll be working on that. Okay, then weekend number 3, so as not to interrupt the Persephone train, so to speak, I'll be working on Persephone. And then week 4, at long last, I will be starting Stargazer. Now, as I've explained a few times, Stargazer is going to be a Virginia Tech conversion in honor of the 10-year anniversary of the tragedy at my alma mater. I do have the fabric. I will show that to you tomorrow since that is more related to haul than anything else. But yeah, so Stargazer is happening in March. I'm so excited. So there we have it. So those are my plans as far as Stitchy plans and Sal's. It looks like a lot because this isn't even everything else that I also have planned. I have my Sal's, like my mystery Sal's. I'm thinking the Birthstone Dragon Sal, Fantasy Sal, and Stitchrovia Quotes to Live By. I'm also thinking Heaven and Earth Design. Yeah, lots happening in March, and I'm battling constantly with this urge to forget it all and just focus on one thing at a time, but then also work on all these things at once. So we'll see how it goes. But for now, those are my plans for the Sal's in March. So now let's switch gears and talk about knitting a bit. I mentioned in my last update video that my plan was to work through my entire rotation of WIPs, and then after I did so, I was going to let myself have a new start. Well, conveniently enough, today I am at that point where I get a new start. And so I am casting on something maybe a little bit unexpected, but I will be casting on a pair of socks. So I've got here, this is Sweet Georgia in their Tough Love sock base, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. And this is the At the Ballet colorway. I won this from a flash challenge from Eat Sleep Knit. And so I'll be working on some socks. My first ever pair of adult socks. I wanted to go with something colorful, but also something that I had purchased from had received from Eat Sleep Knit. Because of the Yarnathon this year, there are bonus points effectively in the badges for completing a pair of adult size socks, and so I thought, well, might as well. So there is the yarn, and I've got my needles here. These are Knitter's Pride Carbons, and let's see. These are US 1.5, 2.5 millimeter needles in a long cable because I'm going to do magic loop. Casting on some socks. Woohoo! So I'll wind this after I get this video uploaded here. So there's that. Now, and then other than that, I will be working through my WIPs on my knitting. I don't expect that I'll have a new cast on, but of course I will talk about that if I do, if I make it through all of my WIPs somehow, some way. Okay, so then last topic before I say see you tomorrow, and that is with regards to books. Now, I don't have any real concrete specific plans for what I want to read in March. I just have my TBR jar. So I'm going to shake this up. Now, one thing that I did want to mention is that, and this is a bit of a spoiler for tomorrow, but I never got to American Straight by Eubie Savoy. And so that I was reading for the Pop Sugar Challenge for the author person of color. And so since I never got to that, I put that piece of paper back in here to redraw again at a later date, and maybe today. And if I redraw it today, then I will figure out what I'm going to read. So, shake this up. Okay, and I want that one, and this one. Okay, so let's see what we've got. So from my TBR jar, ooh, this is a good one. First book in a series. That should be pretty easy to fulfill. And then the second This one's going to be a little bit more difficult. One of the 4 seasons in the title. So spring, summer, winter, or fall or autumn. But I'm going to take that to be as wide open as possible. So for instance, there's a book by Laurie Halse Anderson called Winter Girls, but it's got winter in there. There's a book, and I don't know the name of the author, but called Fall to Pieces. Technically that's not referring to this season, it's referring to the action of actually falling, but I would count that. So I will think on this and insert the covers here so that you can see which books I chose for these 2 tasks. Other than that, I have another book that I would like to read that would not qualify as either of those. But I'll start there and see what happens. So that is really all that I have for you today. I know it's a short one. As always, thank you so much for watching. Any and all links will be located in the show notes, which are found on my blog. My blog is linked below, so you're more than welcome to go check that out. And yeah, that's all I've got for you today. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.